Hello, it's Lou Collins, and today I've got another template video for you. This is the double diamond fold card template. Now this was created inside Papercraft Essentials, issue 222, and it's been made with some lovely cat and dog sort of images that are actually an exclusive brand at CraftStash. So you'll find those, I think it's called Your Pets at Home, I think, something like that. And you'll find those at CraftStash anyway if you want to go and have a look in the magazine and copy that card. But I'm going to make a different version as it's currently May, so in June we'll be thinking about Father's Day. So I'm going to create a masculine themed card. So I'm going to use this template. I'm going to adhere it as always with my spray glue onto some cardstock. I'm just going to cut out the edge here. Now this one does have measurements on it, so if you want to make this slightly larger and not cut into your template, you can follow the measurements and do your cutting and scoring that way. But I'm going to do it kind of my cheats way, where I'm just going to stick the template onto the cardstock and then cut that out and follow the score lines and such. I just find that so much easier. It means I'm not going to get any of those measurements wrong either. So I'm going to find my cardstock, get that glued down, and then we'll get cutting this out. So I've chosen to work today with some of my textures range, and this is called Fittings and or Fixtures and Fittings. Now this is a masculine themed collection, so we've got lots in here about we've got dad, husband, brother, son, partner, uncle, handyman. We've got handy woman in there as well, a fixer-upper, granddad, and then there's lots of kind of plaques that you can put these around as well. DIY king, workshop wizard. If no one can fix it, sorry, if you can't fix it, no one can, that sort of thing. So I'm going to work with those as my sentiment, and these are the papers that I'm going to be using as well. They're kind of all metal themed, so I'll bring in probably some of the corrugated iron there that we've got. Let's open this pack, and I've chosen what I think will work as a background. Let's see. So just because in here we've got a few little shades of brown, so this is going to contrast, but I think it will work, so that's what I'm going to go for. So let's pop these just to the side for a moment and come to those later at the decoration stage. And let's take my spray adhesive and pop this onto my template. Don't use a lot of spray adhesive, just enough to hold it still whilst I'm cutting this out. Now the way this is printed off for me, and I'm sure you'll probably be the same, is that the top edge, you can just see where the lines finish. That's where you want to cut up to. Bottom edge is clearly there for you, and then the two ends, they don't actually have solid ends, but again it's where the lines finish that we want to be cutting. So bringing in my Creative Craft Products trimmer, just make sure, though I've glued this on, it's fairly straight, just make sure you pop that first solid line, the base line, into the little track in your trimmer. Don't go by putting it up against the top here, just have a look and make sure the line runs central through. Cut that one, and then we can go round using it butt up against the top guide for a perfect 90-degree angle. Just come to the end there of the line again, and I'm going to keep now working round, cutting to the end of each of these lines. Again, just checking through the gap, through the guide on my trimmer, making sure that where I'm cutting is in the correct place before going ahead and doing so. So now I've cut those, I've got some score lines to do. Some of these are diagonal score lines, so they're going to be a little bit harder. So I'm not going to actually do those with my trimmer. What I'm going to do is the easy ones, so all of the straight ones. And I'm going to be using the scoring blade on my trimmer for this. So just go over that a few times. So there's one down the middle, directly long ways down the centre. And then we've got a couple on the end, one on each end, 5 centimetres in from each end to be precise, if you're measuring instead of using the template as I am. So you'll end up with 2 squares on either end of the card. There we go. And the lines I haven't scored so far are these ones, because they're angled, they're a little bit harder. So I'm going to show you how the easiest way to get those cut. I've got myself a bone folder here. Now I'll do this with the template still on because I need to see where those diagonal lines are. Now, with this, all of the black lines are going to be mountain folds. So we'll start off, although we've got little red valley folds here, it's fine. We need to put a crease in there anyway, and you'll see how this will work. So I'd say, first of all, fold it all long ways. You've got that score line there already. Crease the line with your bone folder to make it a nice strong line, like so. Then we're going to do the same with these end ones. So turn it over and fold the end ones back. So again, that is a mountain fold. And if you're not sure what mountain fold and a valley fold is, so when you fold a mountain fold, you're folding it over so that it looks like a mountain, and vice versa. If you're going to do a valley fold, that will dip in, so that will look like a valley. So there we go, there's another mountain fold. So we've got our mountain fold that way, and then we've got our mountain folds that way. Now this is where it gets a bit harder. So what we want to do is fold these ones. Now, of course, if you're going to fold it with this open like this, you risk creasing up here the same way. If we're folding along there, you risk the crease line sort of extending beyond here for all of them. So what I'm going to do is fold it in half. Then I'm going to fold along my score line. And what you'll find is the other side, the score line will be the same direction. So you're actually doing both at the same time. But what I'm going to do is do it one way and then fold it the other way and crease again. It's a little bit harder because I've obviously got the template glued to it. So there we go. We've now creased both those lines all the way to each end, and repeat on this side as well. This is the easiest way I find of scoring diagonal lines like this. So just fold that back until we can see that crease line. There we go. There's one. Back over the other way and strengthen the line that way. Okay, so we've got all of our crease lines, albeit not all of them are the correct way, because these should be valleys, as should this one, and 1, 2, 3 should be valleys as well. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to fold on this point, we're going to fold this back, completely fold that back, okay? You'll find it bends because, of course, these aren't allowing. Then fold your mountain forward, so the end tab forward, so you can see I've got here, I've got a bit of a bend. So then, with this closed, I'm going to push these triangles, or these corners, these edges of the die, push them in towards the card, and you'll see that will fold flat on both of them. There we go. And then everything has folded into itself. So the same on this end. So on this corner, or on this point here, we're just going to fold everything back. We're not going to completely crease it because we don't want to do that at the moment. We don't want to damage anything. Fold that back onto that point there. Fold the end down and then push our two corners back into the card. There we go. And now you can just re-secure everything, crease it all down with your bone folder, make sure it's nice strong creases and make sure everything's in the right direction. So I'm going to get under here as well and fold these under these diamonds like so. There we go. So then you have your card. So now what we can do, now we know how to fold that, is we can now remove our template, pop that aside to use another time if you wish, or as I often do, I tend to use them for for doing the mats and layers. Everything should fold nicely back together again. It kind of looks a bit like a little paper hat or a paper boat or something, that sort of style. So there we go. So there's the basic card shape, and then to decorate. Now this is going to be really simple. I'm going to use this paper, as I said, for the two ends here. And then in the middle, I'm going to stamp sentiment. So I will just do that. It's very, very simple paper crafting. Keep it nice and simple. Because it's actually the card shape that you want to shine. So I'll get this decorated and then we'll come back and have a look at it at the end. So there's the finished, I actually made this a best Grandad in the world card because my kids actually send Father's Day cards to granddads as well. So there's an idea for you using the textures, fixtures and fittings collection. So that was the stamp set and the papers as well. Just some brown cardstock, and then of course the free template that you can download on Craft World. Simply search Papercraft Essentials issue 224 and you should find that there, or linked, of course, in this blog post. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'd love to see your take on this particular card shape, especially if you're going masculine for Father's Day. I'd love to see that too. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again another week.